Welcome to Group 1's analysis of IST501, Technology Workshop. For those that don't remember or have not taken the class yet, IST501 is a technology workshop that endeavors to teach the important technological skills necessary to be successful in the MIST program. For the 5P considerations, we ultimately found that IST501 mostly accounted for each section of the rubric, with only the participation and collaboration portion being only somewhat accounted for. For the presentation section, the course material was relevant to MIST students' needs, and the content was engaging and delivered in multiple formats. Also, the course shell was easy to navigate. For the practice section, all of the practice activities were based on creating a deliverable in order to develop proficiency in the application of a skill, for example, creating a web page, survey, or video. Having weekly deliverables, we believe, engendered a feeling of accomplishment for learners. However, there wasn't really any repetition or spiraling, as the deliverables only needed to be created once. For production and posting, learners would post their weekly deliverables with an explanation of the process used to create them on a discussion forum as well as their ePortfolio. Peers would then review their work and provide relevant feedback. Overall, we found that IST focuses greatly on production and posting. As stated before, participation and collaboration was somewhat of a weakness. On one hand, there were discussion forums that promoted a community of wisdom and knowledge sharing. Learners could learn from each other's work because it was all available publicly on the class. However, on the other hand, the deliverables were all individual, and there were no deliverables that were a collaborative product.
The behaviorist elements of IST501 were clearly seen in the weekly deliverables. There was a clear learning objective, learners were given the information to meet that objective, and there was timely and constructive feedback at the end to tell learners whether or not they had met that objective. The feedback came from both peers and the teacher. There was a clear reward system, namely good grades versus bad grades, and the course also incorporated new technology. The main cognitivist elements of IST501 were the weekly reflections on the process learners used to create the weekly deliverables. Writing a reflection is a metacognitive strategy to help learners chunk information in their brain. There is also an emphasis on real-world examples in the course. All of what we learned was couched in and could be applied to reality. The coursework was hands-on, and many learners were able to quickly apply what was learned to their real-life work. There was also quite a few visuals used in the weekly lesson tutorials. As for the constructivist elements, it's important to note that the requirements for each product were broad enough that learners could use creativity in their own culture and background to create a unique product. In fact, this was encouraged. Also, the weekly discussion forums where learners could view and comment on other learners' work was definitely a major constructivist activity.
IST501 did not readily use connectivist elements such as artificial intelligence to teach the content. The only example we found was learners were encouraged to explore various links to learn more about a topic. When a learner reviewed a link on a site such as YouTube, the AI built into that site may recommend related content that the user could further explore. However, the instructor was the main person responsible for choosing, organizing, and presenting the content, with little input from artificial intelligence. Therefore, we conclude IST501 had very little evidence of connectivist principles. We did find that IST501 had evidence of a collaborativist learning environment. We saw evidence of asynchronous, online-mediated discourse between learners when each week learners posted their deliverables to an online forum and received feedback from peers. At the end of the course, learners also reviewed one another's online portfolios and gave feedback that users then incorporated into their projects. Using Harrison's criteria of collaborativist pedagogy, these examples fall under Step 3, idea convergence. Therefore, we would say IST501 did have elements of a collaborativist online learning environment.
We observed that there was a significant gap between the level of experience that each learner had within the course. In order to alleviate this gap, it may be good to either offer learning activities that vary in difficulty, or offer the option to waive the course while still being granted access to course materials so that more experienced learners are able to benefit from the pieces of content that they require remediation on. This process of differentiating the skill level between each deliverable may also help learners get the most out of the course as a whole. There is an existing mechanism to waive the course, but our first impressions were that it would be easier to take the course in its entirety than it would be to fulfill the requirements to waive it. Another possible area of improvement would be to set the stage for meaningful peer-to-peer feedback by requiring students to comment on a forum post that had not been previously commented on. Peer feedback is essential when it comes to establishing new skills throughout the course, and this would help ensure that each learner is able to receive constructive feedback from at least one peer for each deliverable. One idea that we discussed was the possibility of having a group project where each learner is assigned to a specific role in completing one portion of a multimedia deliverable. For example, the first student could write the script, while the second provides video footage, a third records the narration, and the fourth member edits and packages the final product. This would help learners get a feel for what it would be like to work collaboratively while using the tools and resources discussed throughout the course. In closing, IST 501 successfully provides students with the tools to both learn new skills and refine existing skills, while the weekly gradebook and video feedback from Professor Beam is able to make sure that we stay motivated and active in the learning process.